Hello students, and welcome to your last flipped lecture for the 1920s. This one's on culture in the 1920s. You need to have your packet that contains the 10 people you need to know. 5 should already be filled out from your Harlem Renaissance people, and those are Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Bessie Smith, Langston Hughes, and Jacob Lawrence. So those 5 should be filled out. So we have 5 more, and you just need to find them in your packet as we go through the lecture. The first person who contributed to the culture of 1920s is Georgia O'Keeffe, and she is known for her paintings of urban scenes and paintings of the Southwest. One of her paintings is to the right, and it's called Ram's Head, White Hollyhock, and Little Hills. So the Ram's Head is here in the middle, this is the White Hollyhock, and these are the Little Hills. So she names her paintings of what they are. And then here is another painting she did, a close-up of a flower called Blue and Green Music. She did many close-ups of flowers and other images of nature, but she started out painting buildings and city images. Okay. The second person you need to be aware of is John Steinbeck, and he is known for his book about the strength of poor migrant workers during the 1930s. His most famous book is The Grapes of Wrath. It's a great book if you ever get a chance to read it. I'm going to show you a quick video that intros his book and summarizes its purpose. So we're a little bit ahead of ourselves here. We'll talk about his time period during the next unit, the Great Depression, but because there's a big section on culture here, we're going to focus on that for right now. But the Grapes of Wrath is about people during the Dust Bowl time period.
In 1936, Steinbeck was approached by a San Francisco newspaper to write a series of articles about migrant farm workers in California. These were the Depression years. In Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Nebraska, and Kansas, enormous numbers of people were being dispossessed of their small farms through a combination of bad farming practices and harsh winds that blew away the topsoil, creating a so-called dust bowl in these regions. Tens of thousands of families made the long trek to California in search of agricultural work and a better life, but their hopes met a harsh reality. As Steinbeck drove down the Central Valley, stopping at migrant camps along the way, he wrote, "Thousands of them are crossing the borders in ancient, rattling automobiles, destitute and hungry and homeless, ready to accept any pay so that they may eat and feed their children." Steinbeck was startled and outraged by what he saw. Whole families living in cardboard boxes. Babies were dying from lack of food and medicine. Out of this experience, Steinbeck created the quick novel The Grapes of Wrath, which awakened the entire nation's heart and conscience to the plight of these people. In 1962, John Steinbeck was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature.
The next novelist you need to be aware of is F. Scott Fitzgerald, who's my personal favorite author, and I really enjoyed reading The Great Gatsby. It's a great book about bootleggers and the society of the 1920s, the rich society. F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote many other short stories like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which was turned into a movie in 2008, and The Great Gatsby was also a movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio in 2000, as well as there are many previous versions of it. He nicknamed the Jazz Age the Jazz Age, so he was the one who coined that term for the 1920s. Aaron Copland was a composer who wrote what was called uniquely American music. One of his most famous pieces is Appalachian Spring. He wrote music designed for orchestras like you might play in your band or orchestra class or sing in chorus. And I have a little video of an orchestra playing Appalachian Spring, Appalachian like the Appalachian Mountains, Spring like a body of water, like a little creek, not like this season. And so it's not Aaron Copland conducting his orchestra, but it is people playing his music. And you might recognize this part. It's a variation he did on the song Simple Gifts. The other composer you need to be aware of is George Gershwin. He wrote what was called uniquely American music. He wrote more in the musical and opera style than Aaron Copland did. And one of his most famous plays is one called Porgy and Bess. It is based on the novel Porgy by an author from South Carolina. And it talks about the life of African Americans in the 1920s and during the Great Migration. So here's a quick sample of Porgy and Bess. Bye. If you need to, go back and make sure you've identified all 5 of the people that you need to, and you'll have a total of 10 then that you need to learn for the 1920s, for the Harlem Renaissance, and for just the general culture.